The economy is not even close to being back where it was pre-pandemic, and many families are taking a hit in their paychecks, leaving them unable to pay rent. To provide some relief, the CDC issued a ban on evictions through the end of the year, but there are certain requirements to take advantage of that moratorium. So what do you need to do? Well, joining me now to explain this is Vanderburgh County Superior Court Judge Les Shively. Judge Shively, thank you so much for being with us today to talk more about this. This eviction ban is not automatic. The tenant has to instigate it. What is the first thing they need to do?
They need to complete a CDC declaration, which sets forth their income situation, which sets forth what efforts they've made to acquire rent assistance through governmental agencies. They also need to explain in that declaration, if they were evicted, where they would have to go to seek housing, and if that alternative would create an overcrowding or a dangerous situation in terms of social distancing. That's something that needs to be known as well. But those prerequisites have to be established with the declaration before they get the benefit of the moratorium.
Where do they get this declaration?
Well, we have forms available at the court. Well, I say at the courthouse. We're conducting our small claims court right now at the Old National Bank Events Plaza. And so when you walk in there, the forms are there. Plus, there also are volunteer lawyers and other folks there to assist people in completing the declaration. Okay, so now this is not information that a landlord is required to tell a tenant. So is there a place that they can call, or is there where they can reach out and get this information? Yes, they set up a hotline back in June for all issues related to COVID, including housing. If they can call 812-901-1059. Okay. And they will give them that information. Okay. But again, the important thing for them to know, this is not automatic. That declaration needs to be completed. They have to do that. And it also does. And this also does not forgive their rent either. They're still going to have to pay that back eventually. And that could easily add up. Are landlords allowed to even tack on more fees? Is there help out there for renters trying to make this work? Well, there is help out there. That a lot of that money is already evaporated, unfortunately. Yeah. But there are some resources and something else to be made aware of. Now, yes, it stays eviction, but not only does the rent continue to accumulate, but any late fees or anything else, other fees set forth in their lease will not be forgiven. Yeah. So that's something to think about. And now is the time. Don't wait to the last minute. Now's the time to get some help with all of that. Now let's ask about this, because I know some folks out there, there are mom and pop landlords out there getting frustrated with all this, because without getting that rent payment, they can't make their mortgage payment. And they could be, I would assume, is there anything for them? Will they still be foreclosed on? Well, again, I think almost 90% of most rental properties, the landlord has a mortgage on those properties. And so I would certainly encourage landlords, in view of this national moratorium, that they get with their lender and see what they can work out if they're in a crunch situation. But I also, having talked to other judges throughout the state, I wouldn't be surprised if landlords don't challenge the legality of this particular action. Right. So we'll certainly hear a lot more about this, not only in court, but also in the news. Judge Shively, thank you so much for giving us something to think about here, and a place for folks to start to get some help here. And that number that you mentioned, we're going to try to get that up on our website and our Facebook page so folks can reach out for help. Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you, Shelley. Take care.